Hello, Balki. Welcome to Galatta Plus.
Pleasure.
So, Balki, your new film, before we talk about Chup, I want to just think of your entire career. The USP of every film is the concept. There's like whether you think of Shamitabh and you think okay, Amitabh's most distinctive characteristic is his voice. And then that's the thing that you decide to play with, or power, whatever it is. How do you come up with these extraordinarily unique concepts, these one lines, or whatever you want to call them?
Filmmaking is a very laborious process.
Right.
And for me to sustain an interest, and so many people to sustain their interest, okay, for writing the first part of it, I have to sustain my interest in writing it, and then to make it, by the time you finish the film, you hardly kind of have any emotion left. There must be something that drives you.
Right.
And for me, it's the idea that drives, makes it anything worthwhile. Besides everything else, I think an idea actually drives a lot of people together. We're doing it for this particular idea. So I always find that I love watching films. There's so many beautiful films to watch. I'd rather keep watching films all my life than make them, unless I get an idea and say, the best of my knowledge, something like this has not been done. And except for Padman, where, I never wanted to do a biopic on anybody's life. But when Tina told me I met Muruganandam and we should do a film on this thing, I said, I don't want to do biopic. But I said, let me meet him. When I met him and I said, I'll write the film after meeting him, I found he's the idea. I mean, I've never seen an idea bigger than that. And to me, Sanitary Napkin was, how do you do a mainstream film with a sanitary napkin? I don't believe any film is about some social, every film is social, so every film is messaging. But I don't want it to be a preachy kind of a thing. So how do I do a entertaining film with a sanitary napkin? That was my trip on that one.
Right.
But otherwise, most of it is about, I need to have a thought which can sustain my interest.
What is the thought that said, I need to make Chup? Have you been grappling with critics' reactions to your films?
Yeah. No, I've not. Actually, it's a very funny kind of thing. I haven't read any of my reviews till I started writing Chup. Okay, and I'll tell you why, except for Chinikam. When I did Chinikam, of course, we had a fabulous premiere at Leicester Square in London, 2,000 people auditorium it is. And Amitabh Bachchan, they are whistling and clapping like the old Bachchan back again. I was so happy. And like any first-time filmmaker, or any filmmaker thinks he's made a good film, right? I mean, the greatest thing, God's gift to mankind. So I came here, I was so thrilled and all stuff. And those days, there was one very influential reviewer who used to write on Saturdays in Hindustan Times, I remember, and I'm going to be the genius of the next century. I opened that damn paper. And there I was, trashed, hacked to pieces, saying this is rubbish, nonsense was written, okay? I was stunned. First I was stunned that anybody can be so vicious. Why is somebody so angry with a happy film? I mean, I couldn't understand this entire thing, so I just went into actual depression. And Amiji tried calling me or something, and then afterwards we spoke, and he said, the world is loving it, people have written such wonderful things, the audience is loving it. I said, no, Jay, finished. So why is that one fellow's review so important to you? And he told me agendas of this people have, apparently that was a agenda filled into review for some other reason. I had no clue how this industry works. But that time, I think exactly 1 month after that Chinikam, I met him and I said, you should do, how can they get away with this? We put our thing, we can't get away. Because we have to show it to somebody. There's a reviewer who's holding us accountable. There's audience is holding us accountable. Nobody's holding him accountable. He's destroying my peace of mind. Forget the fact whether he takes over my audience. He can destroy my life also, my career also. He can destroy. It's very lucky that it works despite something. I always believe reviews are important to guide people towards a particular film or expose people to certain kinds of goods and bads about a film. But there's decency involved, there's writing involved. We don't like it, there's a way to say it. But he was vicious attack. So I just felt that how can he get away? And can't get away. I just should bump them off. He started laughing. You crazy fellow, what are you thinking of? What are you on? What did you drink? And we left it at that. We never spoke about it. And the story started developing in my mind from 2007. I've had this thought, okay, on that day. From that day, you won't believe it. I've only read reviews which have been either sent to me, because obviously they'll be nice and polite, otherwise nobody will send you the review saying I've trashed you. Or people have sent to me saying, read this review, it's fascinating, whatever wonderful things are being said. In fact, Karan once told me to read your review on something out there, and you're the only person who can see sense in cinema, all that. So he forwarded me the link. I read. So I have closed my mind to the entire thing, but so the idea is very fresh. And I didn't want to make it a message film against anything else. I wanted to be a thriller. I was very clear. How do we thrill? All that story came immediately after that. And the story itself I've had, this exact story I've had for a very long time in my life. I said, no, every time I saw that idea, suddenly in the lockdown, I said, no, I want to write this. I want to end this thing in my life, and I just want to really write it. That's how this thing happened. Before that, and when I was sat down to write it with Rishi, who was my co-writer, I said, Rishi, you think if we write it now, it'll be one stupid bashing of thing. Also, I need a perspective from the other side to say, how do they look at filmmakers and the sensitivity of filmmakers and their oversensitivity over this thing, and what's the flaw in our thinking? Right. I need to know that stuff. Then I met Raja, and I said, Raja, come and jam with me, come and write with me, come.
Raja Sen, yeah.
Raja Sen. So it was good, it was fun, and finally, I don't know who was the critic. I was more pro-critic than he was more or less. So it was great fun, and all three of us were sitting and jamming on this thing. And Chup happened exactly, it was not planned as anything, it was planned as a thriller, and exactly how I had in mind. It was not anti, and I was definitely not fuming. And just before writing that, I told Raja and Rishi, wait, like, give me 2 years. I need to prepare myself for this film, because I like to type my own scripts. I open my laptop, I type my own scripts. Okay, and that exercise to begin, I need to do some rituals. And this time the ritual is, listen, I have to go and read everything that's ever written about me before I start this film. Then I went back and discovered every reviewer's, everything's ever written. I read all the stuff that you've written, everything from Money's comparison to this thing. I read every word. I know what all you've written, what you said about Shamitab, and the end, and something else, and something. I know by heart all these things. To my brilliant surprise, okay, I looked at Raja. He's the guy who's trashed me most. It was so beautiful. And here I am opening my laptop. How to murder you is my theme. And we had such a ball of a friendship just built on, not even dislike. It's a lovely kind of feelings of how to kill.
I look at criticism as a bit of analysis, right? Like, I have nothing personal against you, right? I like you as a person. But when you make a film, it's just the film. It's not Balki that I'm reviewing.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm reviewing the film, right? So I think most people who understand cinema, who like cinema understand that. Like, it's not personal. It's like, I'm not saying Balki is bad, but the film has certain ups and downs, whatever it is. That's how you review it, right? But why is that important to you? Because everybody says, who cares about critics? It's like the box office is what matters. The audience is the ultimate critic or the ultimate judgment or whatever it is. Why is it that filmmakers, some of them at least, care so much about what critics say?
I'll tell you why. Because you expect a person with the responsibility, when you're given the responsibility of analyzing a film, you expect the person to be qualified to do so. Number one, his interest and his ability and his way of looking at cinema and the audience which you have in mind. You don't expect the person to say, audience will not like this, or this will flop. That's not your job. Okay? I find it very interesting because any artist would like first the experts of that art to kind of tell you, hey, is it good or is it bad? Of course, the audience will speak. Of course, the box office. And anybody who tells you that critical reviews don't matter, and only box office matter, is talking a lot of bullshit. Because it doesn't, of course, matter to an Avengers or to a Rajni film or any of these other blockbusters, pure fire blockbusters. But it does matter. Even those films does matter. Today, so many critics are there all across social media. If you have so many people writing bad things about it, it does affect the thing of film. But it's important that the official critics, what I call official critics, get back their credibility and their importance. Okay, today, for an artist, there is no bigger kick than actually saying, somebody liked what I did, okay? You don't want to be praised, even when you want to be trashed, even if the person didn't like it. If you really like art, you will communicate it in a way that the person says, shit, yeah, I should have thought of it like this. Why didn't I think of it like this? Hey, I agree with this person like that. You should have a conversation with an invisible person out there based on that thing. And that's what's so beautiful about cinema, because we're all in the same boat. You're waiting for the thing to be made so that you can talk about it. And that joy is not there. Today, the hunger is, I'm coming saying, oh, you've made, is it? Let me see. Come on, show me. Who the hell are you, man? Okay, what gives you the damn right to sit there and judge? You are privileged to be in that position to kind of watch a lot of films. Treat it as a privilege, okay, to do that stuff and honor the stuff. I'm not talking film alone, in anything in the world. Honor that privilege that you've got to pass an opinion on that critically and form a career out of passing an opinion on that stuff. Honor it, enjoy it.
Right.
Don't enjoy the power that you have of saying, I can kill this. What has happened over the years, and it's largely fault of the film industry also, to start getting, so greedy for the praise of these things. So you've corrupted an entire system of saying, okay, it'll be more friendly on this. Everybody talks of objectivity, everybody talks of honesty and objectivity. At least 75% of it, of people are not objective.
I think it's 100%.
Not objective.
No, I'm not saying objective as in...
No, I'm not even talking about that kind of objective.
Yeah.
See, objectivity is a mythical word. You are a person, so you have to be subjective.
So you have tastes, you have tastes. Sensibilities.
I'm talking of agendas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The agendas are too many in this thing. This is not, when did this seat become a seat of power? For me, it baffles me. I always find that I've asked one question. Listen, one second, forget all the great emotions associated with this stuff. You are earning revenue based on my film. Okay, fundamentally. I can put a high court order and say you have no business to review my film. You'll have to stop if you use my copyright property. Have you ever thought of that? In a bit. You're actually making a living, and suddenly you're in a position of power to kind of use language that is abusive. It doesn't make, in any court, in the legal system, you have Sessions Court, you have High Court, you have Supreme Court. You are suddenly Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And you tell me how that's what's happening today.
Yeah.
The kind of power these guys wield is first of all unfair, and it's so stupid, it's so silly, and we've given them the power. If we treated critics like people with great knowledge and respect, and we did that, we started being afraid of them. When you start being afraid of a person, then there is something wrong. Come on, yeah. You created something. You're not afraid of that thing. Why are you afraid of the person who's kind of seeing it or reading it?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Because you're afraid only because it's an agenda-driven thing. Oh, I should please them. I should not this thing. I've seen critics come to a theater. You won't believe this, on a preview, okay? And I was standing behind, and there's a PR team who's kind of coordinating people seating in the theater. And the guy's shouting, if I don't get a back seat, something, I will bajao this film. Okay, I've heard this shout right in front of me. I went up to him and says, what do you do? You will bajao. Don't see the film now. Why do you want to see the film? I've seen it right before my eyes. What do you mean by you will bajao my film? There's an audience to bajao a film, or am I already shitting every day? Okay, because my audience is going to bajao whatever has to be bajao. Okay, or they're going to like. I can't say it doesn't depend on you. You're supposed, I respect your profession. That's why I'm angry with it. If I didn't think your profession was necessary, I would never be so angry with it. I really value it. And sometimes when you value something, when things are not being done properly, you feel a lot more hurt than anything else.
See, I think one of the things that is a little confusing about cinema in terms of criticism is that everybody's a critic. Yeah. In the sense that I've used this example often. Let's say you're taking Hindustani music or Carnatic music or whatever it is. Somebody would think twice about opining on that because there is they know that there is a certain grammar to it, there is a certain knowledge that's needed, there is a certain sensibility that's needed to kind of, to understand that art. Whereas because cinema is so democratic and because it has always been seen as entertainment and rather than an art form, I'm not saying that there aren't people that see it this way, but majority of people just go and say, they go by the story and whether they're entertained or not. Beyond that, they don't really care about what this person has tried. See, for me, the most fascinating films, for example, are the ones that what I call noble failures, which are films that try to do something really nice or interesting, but don't end up doing that. But that effort is, to me, very fascinating because somebody's gone into the mainstream space and tried to grapple with this strange story and then not done well. But that grappling will yield about 10 to 15 fantastic scenes that will make you almost forget the rest of the film and the fact that the rest of the film doesn't work. But you're like, wow, this set of 15 scenes is enough. I'm happy with that. The rest of the 30 scenes don't work, I don't care. It's like this, But to majority of the people, they look at the story. So they're not looking at a thing. I'm not placing myself above that or below that because everybody looks at things their own way. But this democracy of film is what kind of makes everybody equal in terms of being a critic.
Absolutely correct. But the problem is that this democracy of film is what makes everybody an audience.
Right.
Not a critic. There's a big flaw.
No, but the thing is, they criticize your film on Twitter. Now everybody's a critic.
No, I'm saying you can't stop that. That's a part of social media. Everybody has an opinion. That's the audience.
Right.
No problem. But why are there official critics that people follow? I am not concerned about the millions of voices that are going to come and express themselves. There is no agenda there. 2-3 people may be agenda, may be planted by somebody, something else. You can't plant millions.
Right.
It's not possible. But you can plant these 5. Okay? Suppose there are 10 official critics in the country. And it matters. Okay? A lot of people still do read your reviews. That's why you are what you are. A lot of people read Taranadash, a lot of people read Anupama Chopra, listen to it, whatever they may say, they read it. Why do you think a critical review and people are tripping on the reviews of reviews more than the film itself? It's because of this. Because they want opinions. They're looking at opinions. What does this person have to say? What does this person have to say? In that process, I don't believe, suppose a French Lefton's Woman has been kind of made here, okay? Why would somebody rate it as a classic when Meryl Streep acts in it and this thing else? If we did this in India, it's not entertaining. Okay, it's a very strange kind of a thing. We also look at genres of cinema. Okay, when we're seeing this kind of cinema, we look at it this lens. When we're seeing this kind of cinema, we look at it this lens. First of all, it just shows you're not qualified to pass an opinion which will influence public opinion. So there are 2 different things. That is just public opinion. But your opinion is influencing public opinion. That's your job.
Yeah.
Now that you've got to be really qualified to do so. You have to be tuned to all kinds. I don't think you have to like every film. You should not be liking every film. Neither should you find, neither should you say boring things are interesting or just art for this. Of course, cinema is more than entertainment. It's an engagement art form. Okay, and a cinema is art form.
Right. I like that you say that because it's not entertainment, it's engagement.
Engage me, don't bore me. That's all.
Okay,
because the entertainment is sorely confused sometimes for just fights and songs and
fun
and everything and slapstick comedy. That's just not entertainment. Engagement is entertainment. Okay, to me. So I think if you don't understand what engages and you're still saying, I don't believe a person in Patna will understand this. How do you know? You don't know yourself. How do you know the person in Patna? Who are you? Have you studied psychology? Have you studied sociology? Have you studied demography? Where it is? Nothing you know. You've not even studied cinema. Forget. There is no cinema appreciation course. Forget all. At least some basic knowledges which you can kind of then laugh at and kind of say, okay, I know cinema is not all those heavy things I learned in school, not Tarkovsky and all this stuff. But we are reviewing this kind of film. But review it with finesse. Finesse. Criticize with finesse. Right? Give me 2-3 of your insights and creative insights which kind of surprises a filmmaker.
Right.
I mean, because we don't spend so much time writing the review. See, somebody's going from the show yesterday, 12 o'clock is typing the review. I took 2 years, you take at least 1 day, what's your hurry?
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry to listen to you. And nobody is. But take that time, because in that time, you will be able to say, shit, my touch was there in this review. Because I added something that nobody has seen. If you don't have that, trip as a reviewer, why are you in this business? Why am I subjecting my film to a person who's not even interested in cinema and wanting to make an impact in his review through that stuff? Okay, you're telling me I don't make an impact. Okay, you're telling me film doesn't work or film works. Oh, it'll really innovative, that thing. You say, Dekha na innovation. You're also a critic. No, show me. And you must be exposed to all genres of cinema as a critic, seen enough films. You don't have to spout all names across the world. Okay? But see an Anees Bazmi film with as much delight as you're doing it. Sometimes it bores you.
You have to love cinema.
You have to love cinema. Yeah. Like, for example, I was telling Anees yesterday, Anees Bazmi, I loved his Welcome. Okay? Every time I'm depressed, I go watch Welcome. It's hilariously fun. But that's a space. You don't compare that to something else in the world. It's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to enjoy the space and say, in that space, what kind of the trip you can give Anees Bazmi? Or a joke nahi socha hai. What if this could have happened in this kind of thing? I think it could be like, it could be funnier. Because sometimes serious commentators of cinema can't understand this and can't add to this. And commentators of this cinema can never understand the one. So we have semi-qualified or non-qualified people actually having the power to influence public opinion, which is an error of this entire setup. It's an error.
I'm going to differ with you a little bit on that and say that I think public opinion is now greater than the opinion of critics. Because the court of public opinion
is a lot more.
I
agree with that.
Yeah, that really determines the verdict on a film.
Chup is an example. We did the public shows out there, which is you can see that genuine people coming out with data, no agenda, what just they're coming and writing their own reviews on the paper.
Yeah.
I can sense it immediately.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. If one person, I'm not saying the power and influence, you still have the power. It may be less than before, but there is power. So even till you have 0% power, okay, it is your responsibility. You will be influencing, say, 50% today from what you used to influence before.
Right.
That's a huge amount. You can destroy careers even with that 50%.
Yeah.
The power is so scary. And what has the film industry done? Gone and pandered to them, gone and bajawed them, no, not bajawed them ever. The thing is kind of say sweet things to them, sweet talk them, this thing. I like to be friends with a critic because on his own thing. Like you're saying, I have nothing personal about it. I like Baradwaj Rangan, okay? I'm going to, your reviews got nothing to do. That's your job. I'll talk about your reviews later.
Right.
I'm friends with you. But if I have an issue with your review, I have an issue with your review.
Yeah.
Where is my forum to express it? Because you got a public forum, you told the people. Where is your rating? Who's rating you? To see whether you've done a great job.
Actually, Twitter does that.
Doesn't rate you.
Yeah.
Doesn't rate you. There are 2-3 people who nobody sees that. Okay. What they rate is a filmmaker doesn't get the opportunity, or an artist doesn't get the opportunity to rate the opinions of. I'm not talking the humanity. If you're saying, "Arey, then you'll have to rate billions." No. You called yourself a visual critic, na? They are not earning money based on me. You're earning, na? So come, let's do the thing. Let's do the topic.
No, but that's what's so fascinating, because even within this context, you're debating the idea of criticism itself. Because on the one hand, you're saying it's necessary. You're not saying it's not needed or whatever it is. There's a nice discussion in the movie, without revealing too much, that even the person who should be against criticism in this movie, that person is able to make out the difference between a valid bad review and a review written for the sake of just gaining brownie points. And that's something that's interesting in this movie, because you're not going all out and bashing critics, you know.
No, actually, I'm actually doing, it's actually in a lot of ways a pro-critic at one point of time.
Right.
Where you're exposing the most fatal flaw in the way the artist is thinking. That's not the wrong way to think, yeah? It's completely crazy. Like, for example, a lot of people trash me for Shamita, okay? I don't, now that I know, because I've read all the reviews of everything else, let's say if I believed it was the greatest thing, and if I believed I've done the damn film as I wanted it to, without a single compromise, and I could not have done it better, I would not have been affected by the failure of Shamita. But I knew, at the bottom of my heart, something went wrong and I didn't control it, and I succumbed to some various, I knew. So when you know, though you're angry and you're upset, you're more angry with yourself than with anybody else. But when I don't know, okay, like that was what Shinikam was. I don't know. And you're trashing me, okay? Or when somebody trashed me, one person trashed me. But that hits you because you don't know. Then you're angry. You know, the fatal flaw in the film, yes, you saw it. I don't want to say it, but that's what it is. You know, the film talks actually of the flaw in the artist's thinking, the strength. An artist is, it's stupid advice that people give artists. Oh, you take it on your chin. That's only you got to take criticism in your stride. How do you want us to praise you? All these kind of things. I say, okay, lovely. If I take it in your stride, I'll be like you. I'm supposed to create and you're supposed to watch because I have a thin skin. Thin skin means expose yourself to all kinds of feelings. The same fellow with thin skin, you're asking me to suddenly develop a thick skin when it comes to you. And what you have to say, how is it possible for one fellow to have two skins? It's not possible now. You will rebel. So till I know, for example, even on Chup, okay? It's a film that I believe that I don't quite know how I could have done this film better. Okay, I don't know.
Right.
Okay? And I think, and I never like any of my films I ever do. I have never liked anything. I always feel embarrassed watching any of my films. I switch it off wherever. But I haven't been embarrassed till yesterday to watch at least scenes of it stuff. So I'm saying, okay, I'm okay on this one. So I will not understand on show. I will not understand. Those will hurt you and anger me a lot more. I'm saying, tell me one thing to not make me feel bad, because I've done my bit. I cannot question myself on this. Okay? Now you would play it. I'm going to get upset. What I do to myself, I'll not start slashing people, but I'm just saying this is what it is. So there are certain times you go through in your life where you know you've done it, and that you can't. I know a lot of my other films, for example, I know when I did Key and Ka, I know what I did. I know how I put it out there on the table, okay? Left to me, I mean, another time, other space, I would have done a lot of different things, the same concept, the same kind of thing. And I know I haven't done my best on that one. I know Shamita would have done a little bit. But a lot of the other stuff that I've done, Padman, I don't know how I've done better, because that kind of a subject, which is this thing, that's a bullet kind of a approach, like you said, for that thing. Or I
think I like Padman. I'm not sure. I think I did.
I did it like a thriller.
Okay.
I want to do a sanity. I'm going don't think, feel, go.
I especially like that scene where he's trying on the pad and it explodes, and he kind of near the river bank, right? Yeah. One thing that I enjoy about your films is that you, like I said, you take these very unique concepts, right? A serial killer who's targeting film critics, for instance. But at the same time, you always deviate from what people would think that thing would be. For example, when I'm thinking this, I'm expecting a nail-biting, like a Seven or something like that. I'm just randomly saying a movie, like a thriller, or Key and Ka, or Shamita, whatever it is. But the first 15 minutes, you kind of know the direction it'll take. You might not know the exact trajectory of the story, but you kind of know the direction it'll take. What's unexpected about all your films, whether I've liked them or not to various degrees, is that there is always something surprising in the way you approach the subject. And for me here, it is the fact that you equate the failed artist due to this criticism with Guru Dutt. He becomes the icon in your movie, the representation of every single artist who's been killed by a critic. What's really fascinating for me is this exchange where you're wondering whether the killer is the actual killer or the killer is the critic who kills artists.
It's beautifully put.
That for me was very fascinating. I don't know if you thought of it that way.
It is like that.
Yeah.
It is like that, but it's beautifully put.
Yeah, for me that was the most fascinating aspect of the movie.
Well, I'll divide it in one line. You kill me, I kill you.
Yeah. It's just I'm a writer, that's all. See, for me, Guru Dutt is a very polarizing artist for me. As a filmmaker, he's fantastic. He's done so many good things, and like Woody Allen, actually, there are his lighter films, and then there are his heavier films, so-called. So if you remember Stardust Memories, there's this line that says, "I preferred your lighter films," like kind of a thing. There's somebody who actually says that with the Woody Allen character. But the heavier films, so-called Pyasa and all that, as great as they are, there's a strain of self-pity that runs through them, which I find that, I mean, you may not find that, which is the world owes me this, and I'm this person, and nobody's respecting me, and nobody's this thing. But doesn't that also mean that, see, there is that thing that you're doing art for the sake of what you want to do. That is, you should enjoy the process more than the result. The result is important, no doubt, but do you get that feeling that sometimes filmmakers have that strain of self-pity in them that makes them like shrink? Because the thing is, for me, the fact that Guru Dutt was destroyed by the reviews of Kagaz Ke Phool, or the fact that David Lean was destroyed by the reviews for Ryan's Daughter, which came after 3 consecutive blockbusters. He had Bridge on the River Kwai, he had Lawrence of Arabia, he had Dr. Zhivago, which didn't get that much reviews, but it was a huge box office hit or whatever it is. But Ryan's Daughter that came after it was savaged, and it took him 14 years to make passage to India after that, because he just went into that shell. Can a review affect a filmmaker to that extent?
See, in terms of self-pity, of course, the process of writing a film, I enjoy most, because that's pure, that's simple. Process of actually shooting a film is more labor. Of course, there's a lot of fun there. I don't think filmmaking is fun, first of all. There's a lot of joy to be had from there, in devious and masochistic ways. And the process of editing is a great fun job, joy giver also. But the self-pity happens, it doesn't happen while writing, or it doesn't happen something else. It happens out of many other reasons in your life, which sometimes may be in your script.
Sure.
It actually sometimes happens because of the result and you treat back. You're not working for the result. But when you've done it with purity and you've gone on a joyful journey, and suddenly you are saying, God, why is the world so unkind to me and me alone? Because of a failure of something, especially unnatural circumstances, or what you feel cannot be right. Then there is a lot of self-pity which kind of creeps it into your life. Before, it's a self-pity about a character. Guru Dutt was not destroyed only by reviews. Of course, but suppose the people also didn't like the film. The other things happening in his life, there was a lot of other things that happened. But what would have happened if the critics had at least written, there's some amount of comfort you hold on to. When you're down and out, if three things attack you, at least the lovers of cinema who are calling it a classic today, if they had celebrated that point in time, you'd have at least held on to that for comfort. I read somebody sent me a review today morning of Chup saying that, no, they got the Guru did not kind of die because of his reviews. Of course the reviews were bad, but died because of this and that, that.
Sure.
Sorry. I said, you never said that. I'm saying you don't even understand the fact that a review may not save the man, but it helps some comfort. 2 days afterwards, you could have been a little bit better. So the mind is a very fickle kind of a thing. So you need to understand the sensitivity and the fickleness of the artist's mind to understand why these things are important. For example, it could have happened to me. If my childhood had been as bad as there is in this film, and if on top of it, see many artists, for example, let's put it this way. Fortunately, we've all had very happy childhoods, and we've had a happy thing. Our lives, I always tell people, you do interesting things when your life is boring and very, very simple and lovely, and your parents have been the best parents in the world. And then you start imagining everything which can happen if it was so, like that. So you had a wretched life, for example, and you create some art. If the art is appreciated, the pain becomes almost like your cash cow. The pain becomes, when I say cash cow is not earning riches, the pain becomes your cash cow of joy. You're getting a lot of joy there. Joy cow, I call it. But I've expressed my pain in it.
Right. And you've exposed yourself in a way.
I've exposed myself in a way, and this is my catharsis. I can't go take revenge. The police will kill me. I can't do this kind of thing. I can't do this kind of thing. Let me turn it into art. A lot of artists are born that way.
Yeah.
And you only you're seeing the celebrated artists with bad lives before of the people who've had successes. There are millions who've turned their pain into art, and the art has been trashed. What do you feel as an artist? There's no way out for me. I've tried to be constructive and turned it into something beautiful, but people have said that's also ugly. So I've led an ugly life. What I've tried to translate it into is ugly. I can get warped. Yeah. Where do I go? Which is the corner I go? So that's why if you see the film, it's not about some mad critic kind of thing. It's about one man's journey. And no, most people say, will you kill a film critic because you don't like his review? No, I won't, because I'm sane. But if I'm insane, I will. Okay, and what is the meaning of insanity? Insanity people define as mad. Insanity is a twist of the brain. Right. It's a small little twist of the brain. That's why when I did a lot of study of serial killers and therapists and, just not watching Mindhunter, watching this thing. I did a lot of studies. It's a small little click that makes them. One little incident, one little thing. It's not even big things.
Yeah.
It's very fashionable to say, mother was let's say a prostitute, and he saw his mother kind of living and kind of this thing. Great to write stories like that. Things don't happen just like that. Things happen one little thing in this thing. So I know what's happened. So the story is about that. It's like that man who's not thinking straight. Most people watching this film, it's not me talking. It's about a person who's not thinking straight. So we have to kind of take into account the vagaries of the mind, and an organ that we fully don't understand as yet.
The thing that you brought up earlier, when I started my career, I used to watch the film on Friday, think about it, and the review would be published on Sunday morning, which is how newspapers worked, right? Now it's not that way.
Yeah.
You have to have just like they have first day first shows, FDFs as they call it, your reviews have to appear the same day.
Correct.
Otherwise, there's a dramatic drop in the views, the interest levels, and everything like that, because the world and its uncle has opined on that movie. So there's a way that your job is under pressure as well. I'm not justifying anything here. I'm just trying to explain a certain situation here. Do you think something can be done about this? Because the thing is, you live in a world where even if the critics are not giving the reviews, there's all these other people that are going to spread this kind of like thing about thing. How is that even possible that what you say about think about it, be whatever it is, just consider it, or what, because one of the things that I find most difficult when I come out of a film is when somebody these days there are these people who thrust mics into your face and ask how was the film. Sometimes you need some time to process it, you can't just immediately say,
and especially this film, you need time to react.
Yeah, you're kind of I know there's a swirl of thoughts, but that's one of the reasons I like writing a review, because for me writing a review is more like making sense of the movie to myself rather than telling you you did this right, you did this wrong. for me, it's a bit of therapy, if you will.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, so it's like for me, okay, there were all these things here. How am I processing it? How am I processing it? And that becomes my review. So whenever people ask, are you? I don't know. I'm very confused. Are you saying it's a good movie or a bad movie? I'm very happy about that because I don't actively want to recommend it to anybody or whatever it is. For me, this is the movie as it is. What do you think about that?
I'll tell you. Rangan, you are what you are today because of what you were. There was a style you believed in. There was a time that you took. There was a respect that you showed. Okay, irrespective of your job, to do it because your environment could allow you to that stuff. Now, environment is dictating you not to do the things that you would ideally like to do. So there's a very simple way to do that. Do not review a movie that you have not been sent a screener of 4 days back. Okay, please show me 4 days back. I have to review it on Friday. Otherwise, I cannot review it on Friday. I'm really sorry. It gives viewers and build that as your brand, saying that I will see reviews 4 days back, 4 days earlier. I will send it. If my review does not come on Friday, which means people have not shown me the film, that's the only reason I can't review. Well, people will respect you for that. There will be more people coming. This is a person who understands, who's not going to con me, who's not in a hurry to put it there. Nobody insists on screeners. Here. And people have asked me yesterday, you're showing it to critics 2 days before the release. Nobody's ever done it. Thursday morning. I said, who said? Nobody's done it. No, it's a thriller. This thing, they'll talk about it. I said, no, actually, I'm wrong. I'll show it actually 5 days before. I'll show it to the public, forget the critics. Let them talk about it. What are you hiding a film for? You made a film to show it to people. People have their own respect for a film. There's a own connection. I don't have to pump, push, promote. You don't need to do that.
Right.
Please tell me good, no good film, no good film, no good film. What is this way of doing things? And the same thing happens. That's why, there's hurry to write reviews. Kal dekho, subah aa jao. No, please ask me. Please give me a screening date. You have a Critic Guild of India. Let the Critic Guild of India pass a damn rule with, NOCs from all critics saying, we have to be shown it 4 days back, otherwise we'll not. Let the Critic Guild of India set rules for the betterment of critics, betterment of criticism. Like you guys are doing courses now with younger critics coming in. It's beautiful. Far more things need to happen like that. Because too much is running on this. And don't think for a minute that despite million people in the public review happening, it's very easy to get back credibility to the official reviewer. You just sat back. Like, it's the same thing I told people. Even the Chup thing when we were doing, people are saying, we don't have the kind of money to promote. Of course we don't have the kind of money. We have about 1/10 the budget to kind of promote. We're a small, tight film. So I said, we have to show the film to this group, that group, this group. I said, I don't want to show it to any group. I'll show it to the biggest group. No? What do you want? You want people, this film is going to work. I don't have people going to malls and dancing and doing all this kind of, this is not that kind of a film. The only way this film will work is if I show it to people and people tell other people, and this is what is good. That's your publicity, that's your promotion. I will show the film in 11 cities to 3,000 people and let them talk about this particular film. You have the confidence. Come on, let's do it. That was our only way to promote it. If you're saying word of mouth, enough mouths must talk, na? Yeah. For you to say, what are you talking word of mouth film? And Friday say we'll start and build up and this thing. People, first of all, don't understand that ticket pricing is the biggest reason why people are not coming to the cinemas. Nothing else is happening. Yeah. So I just believe critics have to start guiding cinema. Have to say that we are having disciplines, boss. You cannot ask us to do that stuff. So anybody who writes the next day like that is a person who should be found out. You should have a tag, like Book by Show has, no, this one, this is promote, like people, advertorial, this is paid for advertisement, like that. You should have those things. Saw this thing. You should have lots of those badges. Bring back credibility into the profession. It's a damn important profession.
And why?
Because there is nothing like an authentic guide for people to kind of follow. People need a guide, an authentic guide. To say, I can trust this. You go to certain books and when you go to a country, you say, if I go this particular stuff will tell me exactly what is right or wrong. You see certain kind of, on cities, on thing, and go to, they're not some arbit people. A lot of things have been done, you follow certain things, and each thing has a cult kind of a following of some kind of either site or some magazine or something is happening out there. I'm saying it's important for people to, people want to trust somebody. Right. It's a dying need. Now we are confusing because we don't have an idea. We're confusing the shit out of people's minds and saying, you're saying, forget, none of these guys matters. 1,000 people will be screaming, I'll only go and decide if I want to go. People are not getting up only. Okay, to go. It's so important to make people get up. Okay? Smaller films need the support of people to wake people up from their seats and go there. It's also the responsibility of criticism, not to stop people coming to the theatre. Everybody's so happy. I stop people going to the theatre. Arey, if people don't go to the theatre, you don't have a job, bugger. First think of that.
At the end of the day, any kind of art is not a measurable medium. Like, you know, like, okay, let's take tennis, right? You know, Nadal has won 20, 22 or 23, Grand Slams. So, you know that Federer won this Wimbledon match because of the score that makes it very, very clear that he won it because of he won the first set, he won the second set, third set he lost, whatever. That there is a very you know that this cricket team won because they scored more runs or caught more catches or whatever it is. So there is a reason that you can say for everything that happened. With art, any kind of art, let's talk about movies. It's your internal processing dictating how you respond to a film. And everybody's internal processing is different, right? So it's like we both could be watching the same film, but because you think a certain way, you could respond differently to the same film, and I think a different way, I could respond. So in this context, is it difficult to understand the fact that critics are going to be all across the board when it comes to a film? Because there are also filmmakers who say, like, point out one particular, like, I won't name this filmmaker, but I had given a very positive review of a film, but there was one part that I said was not working, and that's the one part that they picked up on and said, this critic said this. And it actually came out in a book. And I was like, my God, I actually gave a very good review for the film, but that one part was not working. And that subjectivity, how do you handle that?
You can't handle that subjectivity. Please be subjective. Please write what you want, what you feel. Process the feeling in different ways. But there are some genres, for example, you may not vibe with, and you're watching the film of that particular genre. That you need to be qualified. If you don't vibe with a particular genre, that you need to have intellectual honesty to say, listen, already I'm not vibing with a horror genre. Why am I judging a horror film? I'm closing my eyes all the time. You can't do it. So that doesn't make it sense. Besides that, I feel there is an element of subjectivity. There is not even there is only subjectivity. But subjectivity needs discipline. But discipline of execution. But that's all I mean. I'm saying when you're expressing your subjectivity, please take some pain to understand your own subjectivity better. Sometimes first thoughts are not subjective.
Yeah.
Especially, I'll tell you, I'll again quote Chup, for example. Coming out of Chup, it's very difficult for me to put a mic in front of an audience and say, is it good or bad? They're dung, they're hit like that. You're coming out like that in that whole thing, and you're coming in that daze. He's not saying, acha hai, picture, acha hai. Next morning, everybody messages me saying, it stayed with me, because it is a film that kind of makes you think.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, you take your time. Don't go to your first thought. Just take your time. You spend that time. But find the mechanism to get that time. Because finally, I think most people want to do a good job. Just like filmmakers, critics also want to do a good job. I'm not saying anybody wants to do a bad job. Please don't abuse the position you're in. Like the same thing with filmmakers. When you talk of casting couches and that and this and everything, all the other bad things that happen in kind of Bollywood, which are there, we tell them not to abuse your privileges as a filmmaker. The same thing I'm telling critics, exactly the same thing. Please don't abuse your privilege being critic. Follow those disciplines. Take your time. Don't keep saying, I don't have the time. You have 2 years to make a film. I have 2 hours to write a review. How do you expect me to be fair to you? Either quit the job or find yourself the time. Okay, to do it. And it's easy ways to find yourself time. I'm sure that if you come to me, Rangan, and say, I don't know what other people do, but if you want me to review a film, Balki, please show it to me 4 days before. I need time to think. I will salute you. Okay, I will salute you and show you, forget Rangan, I don't know whether my print will be ready. Come and see the cut, whatever is ready for, and this is what's changing. I'm most open to showing my films very early because that's what you're there for. You're waiting for responses from people. Okay, you don't think you can do it all. You really am. I am actually a collaborative person like that. So therefore, for me, it matters hugely what somebody thinks. Of course, I love to be praised. I hate criticism. Okay, who does not like to be praised? But I also understand that I can't expect everybody to praise me. Curse me decently, or do your thinking before you curse me. Don't curse me foolishly.
Actually, don't curse me at all.
No, you want to curse, let me say curse me in such a way that I think it's a praise. Yeah. That's fine. A lot of people do that too. That's absolutely cool. That requires a little bit of finesse. But the thing is, do your work. Don't regret what you have said 2 days afterwards. After it's out in the public domain, you may say, shit. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sure a lot of thoughts come to a lot of people like that. Have I been unfair in this stuff? But years of doing the same thing, sometimes you become immune to that stuff and move on.
Yeah.
Okay? Get back the credibility. We are living in times where everything is going out of fashion. And there's nothing replacing it in a very credible way. That's the beautiful thing. We keep saying this is passé, that's passé. Tell me a good thing to replace it, boss. There's nothing in.
Yeah.
So we have to find ways to make these relevant in today's times with the stuff that we have.
Yes. So thank you for giving this film to us critics. Which is like, instead of just saying kill the critic, you're also saying make the critic
I was
think.
really disappointed yesterday, and this showed me. What disappointed was not the reactions film, and there was the industry and the critics. For the first time, we've had the screening together. We had the debate. I made every effort to be not seen as two parties, okay? Because we're all making a film. I'm not going to hold a gun onto your head, Baradwaj Rangan. You very well say nice things about me. I'm going to not use my charm. It's not going to work on objective people. They're going to feel right what they want to. But by God, there was that one. As soon as the film got over, the industry, of course, came to me. They spoke to me for half an hour about things and everything. Except for 2-3 people, who came up to me, who friends, who just kind of actually said wonderful thing about the film, the critical side. Every critic vanished.
Including me.
I understand why you vanished, because sometimes filmmakers kind of put pressure and say, how do you feel, you put this thing, they influence your thoughts and this thing, and you... No, boss, it's not that. Grow up to think other filmmakers also can be a little more mature than that. Respect what somebody has done. Say hello, bye, and go. Say this, you've come to watch a film. I find it shocking that you guys take yourself so seriously that I'll influence you after making a film against critics. Why would I care? Come and tell me. On my face you can tell me, because I'm that kind of a guy.
I told you just now.
No, you tell me.
Yeah.
I'm not talking of you.
Yeah.
I'm talking of 90% of the people. I can't be more democratic than this, okay? I can't not want to even bother about reviews than this, because I made a film critically. I don't expect critics to praise me after this film. I don't. I'm absolutely fine with it. But I'd like to exchange. I'd have liked to have the conversation without being seen as the usual, because you're so used to template things, na? Film dekha, main review lookunga, we should not meet. Only the review after that we should meet. There are these unnecessary disciplines, but then you're not talking film.
Yeah, and actually those disciplines actually don't matter, because for me, a lot of people say that if you know a filmmaker, then you tend to be a little, like less harsh or whatever it is. So I don't think so, because I think the person is different from
the film.
The film. So it's like, I like Balki the person. I may or may not like a particular film that Balki makes, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to go out of my way to trash it just to show that my friendship with Balki is not going to. Yeah.
See, it works both ways.
It works both ways. So it's like you can't do that as well. But I know people who do that because they go the extra distance to kind of kill a film, because they don't want to be seen as like being partial to a filmmaker or something like that. It's a very complicated subject, and I think it's like it will go on
we can be sweet to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to like everybody.
Yeah.
We can be sweet to every film.
Yeah.
And analyze it for whatever its merits are.
Right. So on that note, thank you so much, both for the film and for this conversation.
Thank you, Rangan.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.